Hello, I'm Alexander Cross, attorney. If you are interested in learning more about criminal law here in the San Francisco Bay Area, be sure to give us a call. Actually, not a call. You can give us a call if you need representation at 1-800-862-7677. Once again, 1-800-862-7677. Or if you want to learn more, simply visit our YouTube channel, Alexander Cross. Let's see. I'm going to read a question here that I received here on our channel. Let's see. I'm being accused of indecent exposure because I did this in front of two girls, but it wasn't my intention because I was super drunk. Well, first of all, here's the deal. One of the elements of indecent exposure is that you did this willfully and purposefully, either to show your genitals on purpose or to obtain some kind of sexual gratification in yourself or sexual gratification for somebody else. But here's the deal with alcohol. Voluntary intoxication is not a defense. Voluntary intoxication is not a defense. So if you were super drunk and still had those sexual intentions, well, I'm sorry, but this is how it goes. I mean, the problem is, now if somebody were to kidnap you and shove a bunch of alcohol down your throat, well then, we can talk about that. That would be a defense. But in this case, if you're exposing yourself and you're purposefully trying to get somebody to look at your stuff, well then you have a real problem. This is a violation of Penal Code Section 314. It is a felony that carries up to 3 years state prison, but more importantly, you'd have to register as a sex offender for life under Penal Code Section 290. Now, in a situation like that, obviously, the attorneys would have to go to court, would have to enter pleas of not guilty, would have to order copies of all the evidence. Then the judge would have to give a new court date to come back and start discussing the matter with the DA's office. In a case like this, it would be wise to retain a private investigator to talk to any of the witnesses or victims to see if there might be something inconsistent, something different from what they told the police that could be added to the evidence. But but beyond that, beyond doing something like that, if the case would have to go to trial, they would have to bring in 12 people from the community who would have to listen to the evidence, and they would have to decide if the individual's guilty or innocent. If they find him innocent, well, they dismiss the charges. But if they don't find him innocent, well, then he could be looking at a potential 3-year state prison plus having to register as a sex offender for life. So really what needs to be focused on is the element of intent. Especially if the victims say, both are interviewed separately and both give similar accounts, then really the focus is the intent, what was going on in the mind of the accused. And of course, that's always very difficult to determine. But whether or not the person was drunk or not, I mean, if the intent was there, even if the intent normally wouldn't be there if he was sober, that, like I said, that would be a big problem. Like I said, these cases, these are all mental in a sense that we have to look at what's going on in the mind. Sometimes what happened in reality doesn't reflect what the intent of the defendant was, and all of that needs to eventually be considered. And also what needs to be considered is the risks. You always have to play risk-reward. What are the chances of potentially winning versus losing a trial? What kind of deal can be obtained from the DA? Is it worth it to resolve the case with a deal as opposed to going to trial? All that has to be factored in before we decide whether or not you're going to go to trial versus you're going to take a deal. But regardless, remember, the most important thing you get from this is voluntary intoxication. Voluntary intoxication is not a defense. Getting drunk, generally speaking, isn't going to wheel you out of it. So please don't do it. Anyway, if you've been accused of having committed a crime and need representation in court, you can give us a call at 1-800-862-7677. Once again, 1-800-862-7677. This is Alexander Cross, criminal attorney here in the San Francisco Bay Area.